Hey guys, it's Finn. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a long time. Obviously, it's been a long time. I have not posted on my disc golf channel in a long time for some reason. I just kind of maybe couldn't figure out video ideas. I do need a new phone, so I'm going to be getting that. Hopefully, we'll start putting some more stuff on here. But today, we're going to be talking about what it takes to get to an 1,000 rated rating in disc golf. Like, how hard is it to be an 1,000 rated? So, what is 1,000 rated? Like, what does that mean? It basically just means you're averaging the scratch score just on average on any whatever course or event you played. You're shooting 1,000 rated. But how hard is it to get to that rating? Because it's such a prestigious achievement is to get to that rating. Let's talk about it. So I'd say there's like 4 things to do, and I'll tell you guys about them. Number one is to dial in your drives, your form, your drives. And then number 2 is going to be like putting, dialing in your putting. And 3 is control. And 4 is about mindset. So number 1 was form. So dialing your form, what it comes down to is just potentially just watching disc golf and understanding form. Like, I watched Drew Gibson's when I was in like 2020, like when I was just starting to get back into disc golf during the COVID era, and I was online doing online school. I was able to watch on YouTube like Drew Gibson and just kind of analyze like what he was doing and how he was doing it. And I was fortunate enough to, in my backyard, I'm able to kind of throw 280 feet ish to my basket. And I was just constantly throwing. Between classes, I would switch and boom, boom, go outside, boom, and then switch back in, boom, and then just do it every day until eventually I was like, oh, whoa, there's a league out at my local course, Beaupre. Let's go check it out. And then I started to play. My drives were good, and I was playing like decent, like 964 for my first event back. And I think maybe it was, I don't know, something like that, 980. I don't remember what it was, but I remember I had a good event at the Flying X Open. M1 2021 is where I shot like 10-15, and that was like my first event, I think B tier or C tier back, and I won it. Pretty crazy, but anyway. So just dial in your drives. Use resources off of YouTube. Just kind of analyze your drives and just making sure that you're constantly getting that X step in, that power pocket, that sound of your feet moving, and just kind of dialing that in. And then number 2 is putting. Putting is like one of the most important things in this game. If you're not making your putts, you're not going to be shooting 1050. You're not going to be shooting high rated rounds. You're not going to be shooting well. Ratings, anyway, but you're not going to be shooting well. So you got to dial in your putt. You have to dial in your putt. You cannot change your putt like mid-season. You can't you have to stick to your natural putt. I can't tell you how many times I have done this mistake. Even this year, I did this mistake of changing my putt back to an older putt that didn't really work. It was kind of like a Simon Lizotte spin putt, kind of thing. And I tried it in the wind, and it just wasn't working. I wasn't scoring. I wasn't making my putts. And it just makes me go back. I'm like, man, I could have easily just won this tournament if I just wasn't. Why did I change my putt? And it totally destroyed me. Do not do that, ever. Do not do that. Stick to your putt that is natural and that you feel comfortable with. Do not ever change it. Never change it. If it feels like it's off one day and you're like, oh my God, I need to go back to maybe another part, change it. Do not do that. The next day you will shoot like crap. So yeah, dial in your putt. That just comes down to repetitions. I would say I have put in roughly 5,000, maybe 8,000, 10,000, maybe even 10,000 hours of putting. And it's just all about that repetition and making sure you're sticking to your routine and not changing your routine. I've had this problem too, I can tell you guys right now, as a former high-rated 10, 20 something rated player. I have had it where I have completely changed my routine. Like, I would be on the course playing casual rounds, I'm just banging everything, you know, because the casual round, there's no pressure about what you're doing. And then you go out to the, you know, a tournament, and then you're like doing a different routine. You're like slowly, like, okay, here we go. Let's make this move. Oh no, I missed. Yanked it. It rolls down the hill. Boom, boom, bye, bogey. So, you know, anyway, but you have to have the same routine that you have when you're practice putting and then when you're in the tournament. I've seen this with players too, like, and they just can't do it. You know, it's like hard. They start missing, or maybe they'll make it. But ideally, you want to have the same routine. So find that routine in your putting, find that stroke, and you should be putting pretty well. Understanding each range. Ideally, I would be practicing within 25 feet and beyond, not practicing 10 footers. You're really gonna be missing those. Like, no, you're not gonna be missing those. I mean, in the beginning, I mean, you can, obviously. I mean, I put in so many hours that what I do now is I typically just practice 30 feet. So I guess, you know, whatever. When you're starting and you're trying to get to this 1,000 rated goal, try to just practice within 10 feet and beyond. You know, just start there and just kind of move your way back, and then, you know, make 3 or whatever. So yeah, anyway. Number 3 is control. So control is all about, control. Just making sure when you're on your drives, you know, you're not death gripping it. You're not gripping as hard as you can. You're not throwing, maybe you're throwing too slow of a disc on a hole. Maybe disc up, you know, and maybe throw a kind of slightly faster disc and throw it lighter. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've done this, and some up and coming players in my area that are doing this, that could just be shredding as well, but they're just throwing way too far and way too hard on each hole and way too hard on each shot, you know, and you just cannot do that. As much as you want to show off, you know, that I'm throwing a buzz on this 500-foot par 3 downhill, let's do this, or like a 500-foot par 3 just flat ground, all right guys, I'm going with the Firebird, or, you know, some type of fairway. It's like, no, don't do that on the hole when you're playing a tournament, because you're just gonna shank it and end up. But I can't tell you how many times I've done that just to show off, you know, to people. Oh, I'm throwing this putter 460 feet downhill on hole 1 at Beaupre, and I've done it. I mean, I parked it. They're like, whoa, holy crap! And then I would do it again, and bye, turned over, grip lock. That's the main thing. Control, especially in the woods, and if you're playing wooded courses, you've got to develop that control. Cannot be gripping the disc, death grip like this. You know, you just have to kind of let go of it. I power grip everything. I mean, sometimes I do this fan grip, but with other approach shots. But on the drives, you have to develop control with, like, ideally, you want to do it with putters and mid ranges too, and fairway drivers. Develop that control with those discs. No distance drivers. Don't be. If you're throwing distance drivers off of holes that are in the woods, like if you're not playing like Northwood Black or, you know, Hornet's Nest, don't do that. You know, like, do not be throwing distance drivers through the woods. You just go bye bye. Kick 500 feet to the right. You know, like, don't do that. So yeah, developing that control. And it just takes time. You just have to grip your disc less harder and just start, you know, combine that with your form, and everything start working out. I'm like, that has changed my game for the better. Like, I was stuck at like 10, you know, and then once I got that control, boop, 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 going up, bang, you know, to 10-20 or whatever. So anyway, last thing is mindset. Right. So mindset is all about having a good headspace on the course and not outbursting because you had a bad break. So I can tell you how many times when I was younger, and even recently as well, like, it still sometimes gets to me, but not as much anymore. But, you know, I would get on the course and I would be like having a good round, maybe a good start or a bad start. If I had a good start, I'd be like, yeah, but then something bad happened or something. I took like a bogey, and then I got like 4 pars in a row or 3 pars in a row, something like that. I'm like, oh my God, this round sucks. This is over and blah, blah. And my whole blah, 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 score just goes to crap because I didn't have a good mindset about trying to get back on and, you know, and trying to, all right, let's get this next hole. All right, let's do this, you know. And so when you do that, you're just losing focus the whole time. You're not going to get back on the train of, all right, let's get these next couple birdies. Let's do this. Let's try to birdie this hole. And, you know, and have that confidence to do that, you know, because when you have that bad mindset, you're just not going to be scoring. You're going to be just thinking about the previous shot. That's why you got to stay present in the moment and making sure you forget about it. And sometimes you have to kind of wheel yourself back and kind of just look around, maybe look at the trees in the sunshine or whatever. Just maybe look at the trees and just kind of realize like, wow, man, life's so beautiful. I'm so glad to be grateful to be playing disc golf out here in these wonderful, you know, maybe. But anyway, ideally you want to have that good mindset. So you have to have that mindset of like, wow, I'm so grateful to be playing. I'm not even kidding, dude. I have played rounds that could have been super bad, but then I was like, back up, bang, finishing like 10:30. I'm like, all right, that's sweet, whatever, I don't even care. At the Summer Classic this year, or the Memorial Classic 2026 this year, I did not feel like I had a good round for the first round. I was missing holes I usually don't miss, and I was like, man, what the fuck is going on? What the heck is going on? And you know, when that happened, I thought, oh, well, I still got tons of holes left. Let's just do this. Let's shred these next holes. You know, I can get these next ones. And I started birdie, boom. You know, getting birdies. So it's all about that mindset, guys. That's one of the huge things. You know, if things are going bad, if you have like a bad bogey, just forget about it. You know, you got tons of holes. You got a lot of more holes next that you can score on, you know. So anyway, guys, if you guys enjoyed the video, that is my takes on how to get to 1,000 rated. It just comes down to those 4 major things. And if you can dial those in and have a good mindset, eventually you should be able to get there. It might take time, might not take a lot of time. There's obviously a lot of more players nowadays that are rated 1,000. I think there's like 1,600 1,000 rated players. Thinking about back in 2010, it was only like maybe 500, 400 players. But anyway, I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, see ya.